The day I was going to go solo, it was a hot day, and everything has to happen on that day. I took off. I'm like enjoying my flight, nice and relaxed. Next thing is the turbulence, and the airplane is like bouncing, like literally, And of course, you're on your own, and you're like, I'm just sitting there. I was like, okay, this has to happen today. I was literally bounced all the way through the first airport, and then the birds are flying straight into you like big birds, and you're like, okay, now it's time to have a bird strike. but luckily there was no bird strike. Then I got to the airport, and your first time on your own, and there was an airport called Okeechobee, and I had to like uncontrolled airport, so I had to follow the pattern of there was few airplanes flying. So first I just flew over the airport, make sure okay there's airplanes flying. Then I managed to get into the pattern. Then I did a landing there, taxi back, take off from there. Then I had to go to a controlled airport. There I have to do 3 touch and goes, like touch and take off again. I did 2 of them, and it was a controlled air tower, so he was giving me all the headings to fly this heading. And then he turns to me, he's like, "Oh, now I'm changing the runway." I'm just thinking there. I'm like, "What does that mean? If you change the runway, why are you changing the runway?" So I told the guy, I was like, "Okay, if you're changing the runway, okay, but I don't know what to do." And he's like, "Okay, that's fine. Don't worry. I'll just give you headings. Just fly those headings, and you'll be fine." So I just flew that heading. I managed to somehow land again on third time, took off, came back to my airport. Instructor was waiting ready, like he was there waiting for me. It took me about 2 hours or something, and came back and land. I think from that I got a lot of confidence uh, from my solo. And then the training went on. For my PPL exam, final exam in America, they do an oral exam and they do a flying exam. It has to happen same day. I was sitting around for 2 weeks or more, waiting for the examiner. I think the examiner was on a holiday, and so one of my school owner, he came down to me, he saw me like just sitting around every day. So he asked me, "Why are you just wasting your time?" I told him there was no examiner available. So he said, "Okay, I'll find you an examiner." So he goes back in his office, comes back after 30 minutes. He's like, "Okay, I found you an examiner, and you're going to do your check ride tomorrow in Fort Lauderdale Executive." He left. My instructor came to me. He's like, "Do you even realize what you just done?" I was like, "What?" He goes, "You're gonna fail tomorrow. You're definitely failing tomorrow." I was like, "Where am I even going? Where is Fort Lauderdale Executive?" He goes, "Fort Lauderdale Executive is one of the busiest business airport in Florida, and it's beside Miami International Airport." And I was like, "What the hell?" This is like, he goes, "You will have to get all the clearances. You have to get a startup clearance. You have to get departure clearance. You have to get taxi clearance, and then you can start your taxiing. Otherwise, you won't be able to move." We got to the school. The examiner there was a very nice guy, old guy. He was ex-Navy, and he told me, "Oh, this is my first exam." I was like, "Okay, great." So we went in the room for the oral exam. It took Orals usually take half an hour, 40 minutes. My oral took 4 hours. Everyone outside thinks I failed the oral already. Somehow I managed to pass the oral, and now he tells me, "Okay, I'm exhausted already." He's like, "Okay, go, get your airplane ready." So I got the airplane ready, and when the examiner came, I told him straight. I was like, "Look, I come from an uncontrolled airport. I don't know this place, and I have a flight plan here, and I don't know where they're gonna send me, what clearances I need." He's like, "Okay, don't worry, I'll help you up. I'll just tell you that you have to get the clearances."
Can you explain what's an uncontrolled and controlled airport?